the cold. A month ago, the Jets made the trade for King and Domi. Gold for Goons. Well, you can't always believe what you read. And this evening, it is a homecoming for Ty Domi and for Chris King.
Well, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited, and I'm trying not to really think about it. I still got a lot of close friends there, and I talk to them almost every night, some of them, and my roommate Adam Graves, him and I talk quite a bit, and we always talk about running each other on the ice. But that game's gonna mean a lot, and our team here knows that it means a lot to Chris and I, and we're going all out and trying to win a hockey game.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Molson Jets Hockey on CKND. I'm Joe Pascucci. Well, if you measure a trade by wins and losses, then the Jets have taken the Rangers to the cleaners. The Jets have only lost one of their 13 games since acquiring Domi and King, winning 11 and tying 1. Well, the Rangers have won 3, lost 5, and tied 3 of their games since getting Eddie Olczyk. The Jets are unbeaten in 10. That streak is on the line as they begin this 4-game road trip. From New York, it's on to Boston and the Bruins tomorrow night. Then the schedule gets easier. Games against the Hartford Whalers and Ottawa Senators Saturday and Monday. The Jets have certainly taken flight since the trade, and with a win tonight, can move back into sole possession of third in the Smythe, just 1 point back of those struggling Calgary Flames. They haven't won in 11. In the Pacific Division, the Rangers are tied with New Jersey for third. 2 points back are the Islanders, and in that fickle New York market, fans tend to flock to teams they perceive to be winners, and the Rangers have not done a lot of that lately. Well, they say that old coaches never die. They just become hockey analysts. And tonight, we welcome Harry Neal to our Jets telecast. He's standing by in New York with Bruce Buchanan.
Thanks, Joe, and good evening, everybody. We welcome Harry Neal to the Jets on CKND. And, Harry, you picked a good time to join the Jets. They're unbeaten in 10, and they welcome back Phil Housley tonight.
Well, I love to watch Phil Housley play. He's been out 2 games with an injury. He has 56 points. That puts him in third place among defensemen in the National League in scoring. He's currently on a 14-game point streak, 3 goals, 21 assists. And when he's on the ice with Solani and Zamnoff, he's the most dangerous player coming from behind the way only he can do it.
We know the job some of the great Jet rookies have done this year, but some of the veterans are beginning to come around as well. I'm speaking of center Thomas Dean.
Well, he has 11 points in the last 5 games, and he has been the top Jet player in the last 7 or 8 years, and his good play always coincides with his good health. And he's healthy right now, and he looks it.
And the Jets will be glad to know that the Rangers are without 2 of their top gunners tonight, defenseman Brian Leach and captain Mark Messier.
I don't know how you possibly could replace the Norris Trophy winner and the Hart Trophy winner and a pair of players who combined for 209 points last year and be as good as you'd like to be. It's simply impossible, and it's the 2 biggest holes in the Rangers lineup.
You think the Rangers are pretty good up front, but a little slow on defense, and you think the Jets may be able to take advantage of that tonight with their speed?
Absolutely. I'd be going outside this Ranger defense at every opportunity with another forward going to the net in a hurry and test their foot speed. It isn't good.
And Mike Richter will start in goal tonight. Has had a little stint in the minors, but he'll get a good test tonight.
Well, he's 4-0-1 in Binghamton. I talked to Colin Campbell, the coach, today. His confidence is back. He looks sharp. This is a huge test for the Rangers and Richter.
Okay, Harry, we'll look forward to this one between the Jets and Rangers here at MSG tonight. Coming up, the opening face-off between the Jets and Rangers live on CKND.
Welcome back. The Jets hoping to have a big hit on Broadway tonight as they take on the New York Rangers on CKND. The Jets unbeaten in 10. 4 other games in the National Hockey League tonight. Hartford is at Montreal. And as you can see, the Whalers with only 1 road win in their last 10. The Canadians leading the Adams division with 65 points. Washington is at Buffalo, and the Sabres' Alexander McGillney with 47 goals. 3 goals tonight. He'd have 50 in 50. This is the Sabres' 50th game, but McGillney has only played in 43 this season because of injury. Washington playing last night. Detroit taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and well, you saw last night on Sportsline what the Red Wings did to the Calgary Flames. Can they do the same to the Edmonton Oilers, who are 3-6-1 in their last 10 games? And later on this evening, 9:30 Manitoba time, Chicago taking on Vancouver. These two teams met on Sunday, and this is the first of a 4-game road trip for the Blackhawks. Well, the Jets unbeaten in 10. The team record is 13 games set back in the 1984-85 season, in which the Jets did not lose a game or only lost 1 game from February 27th to the end of the season. And as you heard earlier, Brian Leetch not in the Rangers lineup tonight because of a shoulder injury. Suffered that injury in a game against the St. Louis Blues. Doctors today in New York say that the injury will take at least 6 more weeks. And at this point, they're not even sure if after 6 weeks Brian Leetch will be able to play. He is skating with the team, but he has no strength in that shoulder and is unable to play. Phil Housley back in the Jets lineup. Phil Housley with that 14-point assist and scoring streak. And Housley, that streak is, of course, over because of the injury. And they're having a ceremony at Madison Square Gardens tonight honoring Mike Gartner, who set an NHL record for 30 goals in 14 consecutive seasons. Let's go to that presentation right now.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York, where the fans are being treated to a Mike Gartner vignette. On Saturday night, Gartner setting an amazing NHL record with his 14th consecutive 30-goal season. And they are honoring him here in New York tonight.
And last year, an equally impressive feat when he became the first player in NHL history to score his 500th goal, his 500th assist, his 1,000th point, and playing his 1,000th game in the same season. I remember when he was an 18-year-old playing for Cincinnati in the WHA, and he finished second to a young guy that hasn't had a bad career, and Rookie of the Year, Wayne Gretzky.
That was the goal that did it right there in Los Angeles on Saturday night, giving Gartner 30. He's never scored less than 33 in a season. A consistent performer in the NHL, Mike Gartner. And he's wearing the C in the absence of Mark Messier. Now, the Jets haven't even come on the ice yet. The Rangers have all been watching the scoreboard, and they will make a presentation to Gartner at center ice. And they have the fans at MSG fired up for this one.
Well, that was the longest video tribute I've seen for a while. Mike Gartner, one of the true thoroughbreds in this, the best league in the world. And there's a picture of Mike getting the rose that was presented to him by his teammates in L.A. after that. And here he is here watching, somewhat embarrassed, I would say, knowing Mike as I do, at all the attention he's getting before this game.
Big smile on his face, and why not?
Well, he's been a problem for the Winnipeg Jets. In his career, 41 games, he scored 25 times and assisted on 15 for 40 points.
There's the injured captain of the Rangers, Mark Messier. Walking out near center ice. Well, he will make a presentation along with Brian Leetch, the 2 injured players we talked about, and Rangers general manager Neil Smith.
In 1988-89, he helped lead the Rangers to first place in the Patrick Division by scoring 11 goals in 12 games after joining the team. In 1989-90, he scored 49 goals, setting the Rangers' all-time record for most goals in the season by a right wing. Last season, he became the first player in league history to record his 500th goal, 500th assist, 1,000 points, and playing his 1,000th game all in the same season. And scoring his 30th goal of the season on a Saturday night in Los Angeles, he became the first and only player in National Hockey League history to score 30 or more goals in 14 consecutive seasons.
Standing ovation for Mike Gartner at Madison Square Garden.
He's the second highest goal scorer among current active NHLers to Wayne Gretzky. He has 567. The only ice time Leetch and Messier are going to get are playing the wing with Mike Gartner in the opening ceremony.
There's what they're presenting Gartner with. Started his pro career with Cincinnati at the WHA, NHL stops in Minnesota, Washington, and with the New York Rangers, and now his teammates coming out to congratulate him.
Well, this is an enormous tribute to Mr. Gartner. I don't know how many times I've seen the whole bench empty to congratulate a very popular teammate. Before the game, the Winnipeg Jets must think this ceremony's going on forever as they're sitting in the dressing room trying to focus on the game and not the presentation.
Well, maybe the season Teemu Selanne's having, the Jets will be doing the same thing in about 14 or 15 years.
Well, if Teemu Selanne can have the career this guy's had, the people in Winnipeg are going to love him like the people in New York do at the moment.
Well, the Rangers are on the ice, but we are still awaiting the arrival of the Winnipeg Jets, who are beginning a 4-game road trip tonight. Other stops in Boston, Hartford, and we will bring you the game from Ottawa on Monday.
Well, since the new year, January the 1st, the Jets are 9-1-2, the best record in the National League, and are 3-1-2 on the road. Their opponents tonight, the Rangers, since the turn of the year, 3-3-3, and they are 2-0-2 here at Madison Square Garden. So I think we're in for a great matchup. The hottest team in the league against the New York Rangers, who are coming off a big win last Saturday night in L.A. And there is probably the hottest player in the league. Last year, the top goal scorer in Finland with 33 goals in 42 games. A real shot at Bossy's 53 goals. Stastny's 109 points as a rookie in this league.
And it is time for the national anthems with John Amarante.
Our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see violet lawns early light? What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad strokes send the bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of our bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
Bruce Buchanan with Harry Neal as the Jets open a 4-game road trip in New York City. 28-year-old Bob Essensa starts for the Jets tonight, his 4th consecutive start. He's 11-1-2 in his last 14. Essensa going for the Jets tonight against 26-year-old Mike Richter, who's back from the minors. The 91 Vezina Trophy finalist hopes he's regained his confidence after a stint in Binghamton.
Richter's problem lately has been long shots. He's very good in tight, inside 20 feet, but he's blown a lot of 40 and 50-footers this season.
Referee, 28-year-old Dave Jackson, the linesman tonight, Pat Napuzzo, and Brian Murphy in the first period is underway. Jets trying to stretch their unbeaten streak to 11 games. Nemchinov turning at center. Still announcing the starting lineups, and we're well underway. Housley bumping in the corner with Phil Bork. Housley missed a couple of games with a wrist injury. John Paddock glad to have him back. Ulanoff for Housley goes to Solani at center, and he dumps it into the Ranger zone wide of Richter. James Patrick, a Winnipeg boy, flips it to the line, and out comes Mike Gardner with Nemchinov and Phil Bork. Drop pass to Bork, wrist shot, and a nice glove save by Bob Essensa off Phil Bork.
Well, the New York Rangers have a set of dangerous forwards, and one of the newcomers this year coming over from the two-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins, Phil Bork, takes a drop pass right here and tests with a quick wrist shot Essensa from about 45 feet out. Look how far out of the net Essensa is to cut that angle almost down. He's 4 feet outside the top of the crease.
Well, one of the reasons the Jets are streaking is the play of goaltender Bob Essensa. Mentioned his record in the last 14, 11, 1, and 2. And Mike O'Neill is his backup tonight. Rick Tabaracci out with back spasms. Jeff Bukaboon for the Rangers hits Tony Amati. Pass on the left side to Adam Graves. Carries it across the Jets line. Was rubbed out of the play by Sergei Boutin. Newman into Boutin. Around the boards for Stu Burns. He can't catch up to it. Bukaboon can't either, and it's Davidoff into the Ranger zone. He's cut off by Kevin Lowe. The two former Oilers paired on defense for the New York Rangers. Graves was rocked by Boutin. Stu Barnes, who's played well since being recalled from Moncton. Amati tips it into the Jet zone, and it's Newman in for Winnipeg. John Druce to Davidoff. Stick handles across the Ranger line, went down. Jay Wells appears to be hurt on the play. He is still on the ice at the Ranger blue line, and a stoppage in play as number 24 of the Rangers is shaken up.
Well, he was the guy that ran into Davidoff right inside the blue line, and it looks to me like it might have been his knee. Here's a better look at it. Davidoff is pushed right in by Graves to the right knee of Wells. And we've seen that kind of an accident many times in football, not as often in hockey, where right at the knee from the outside with the foot planted, and I'm sure that Wells will go to the dressing room with a bad right knee. Here it is again. Now watch Graves shove Davidoff right into the knee with all the weight on Wells' right knee. New York defense has been blessed with all kinds of problems this year, the most of which obviously is Leach. And they can ill afford to lose Wells, who, despite the fact he's 33 years old, has been the only defenseman with Bukaboom back there that keeps your head up and keeps you honest physically. You can see he can't put any weight on that knee at all. We'll be looking at the orthopedic surgeon in 20 minutes. Here it is again. Now watch his right knee cave in right there. Boy, that's a nasty athletic shot, whether it's hockey or football.
Turcotte was sent flying into the boards by Dean Kennedy, and he brings it out for the Jets. Kennedy had a brief stint as a New York Ranger. Bounces it in behind the net. Richter plays it around the boards. Steen in the corner with Solani, who will be double shifted tonight. The Jets have 11 forwards and 7 defensemen dressed. Erickson in on the left side, pokes it to the side of the net. Essensa corrals it and hangs on at the side of the goal.
Well, I mentioned in the opening there that Timo Solani has a chance to beat Stastny and Bossy's rookie records. He also should make the All-Star team at the end of the year. He should win the Calder Trophy and become the second rookie ever to score over 50 goals. Bossy with 53, Nieuwendyk with 51. I haven't seen the Jets too often, Bruce, in person since November, but I see this guy after every Jet game on CNN at 11 o'clock with those beautiful goals. He gets more late TV time than David Letterman.
and almost as much money.
Well, he's going to get as much money if he doesn't already.
Tkachuk to Kennedy. He skates to center and drives it into the Ranger zone. Just past the 2-minute mark, first period. It's 0-0. Zubov checked behind the net by Steen. Tried to center it. Tkachuk along the boards. Wrapped it behind the net for Steen. Solani for the Jets. Cuts into the middle. He was checked. Loose puck. Solani trying to find it. Gives it to Tkachuk in the corner. Bourque can't push him off the puck. Out come the Rangers. It's Nemchinov with Bourque 2-on-1. Hangs on to it. Nemchinov right in. And he slid it wide. Puck came in front of the Jets net, and Dean Kennedy just ices it to relieve the pressure.
Well, not a real great play by a pretty good hockey player, Nemchinov, on the 2-on-1. He ended up not making the pass to Gartner, and he ended up not getting the shot. Now here's the guy everybody was waiting for, Ty Domi. I thought it was Joe Namath coming back to New York when I saw the media around him before the game. And, of course, Chris King, the other former Ranger.
And still well-liked, but we wonder what happens after they throw a couple of body checks.
And they will, as sure as we're sitting here.
And Ed Olczyk is also on the ice. The Jet involved in the deal for Domi and King. They're calling it the Thunder Domi in Winnipeg. And I think a few Ranger fans are still calling it that in New York. Pair of juice from the point. Put it behind the net for Olczyk. Centers it. And Boughton takes over for Winnipeg to Eagles at center. And he fires it in for the Jets. King waiting in the corner. Bumped by Stephen King. His pass went off Eagles' skate. Juice pokes it up the boards. And Newmanen can't keep it in. Boughton to Ty Domi at center. He ran into Kevin Lowe and then gets his stick up.
Good play by Kevin Lowe, the wily veteran here. Takes the first run at Domi to make sure his teammates realize he's the enemy tonight.
Stephen King down the left side for the Rangers. Pushed to the corner boards by Newmanen. King bumped with his man behind the net. That's Joey Koser. And the Jets flip it to center. Nearing the 4-minute mark first period, it's 0-0. Kevin Lowe, the 33-year-old veteran in his 14th season. Newmanen, a rink-wide pass for Jamnot. Shannon overskated the puck at center. Jamnot picked it up. Solani shoots over top of the goal. Jamnot from the corner goes to the backhand, cutting in. Jamnot had it slide away from him at the last moment. He scored a beauty against the Oilers on Saturday going end-to-end. And now the Rangers have to ice it. Phil Housley has lots of time. Icing against the Rangers from Madison Square Garden, your Miller Genuine Draft telecast.
Now let's have a look at the scratches in tonight's game for both teams. The Rangers have quite a number of players who are out. And the Jets have decided to go John Paddock, as you mentioned, Bruce, with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Remembering, Carlisle, it's only his 15th game, and it gives him a chance to play Solani on 2 lines instead of just 1.
Solani trying to go to the net. Carlisle is on the ice playing his 1,046th NHL game tonight and will play in the All-Star game for the Jets along with Solani and Housley. Bukaboom out to center to Jan Eriksson. One-on-one against Housley. Carlisle trying to catch him. Carlisle hooked him and will get a penalty.
One of the things you have to prepare yourself against when you play the Rangers is they've got quick forwards. And if you let them have the long outlet pass from the top of the circle, like right here by Eriksson, you're going to get in trouble. You can see that Carlisle hauls him down with a trip on the second 2-on-1 in the first 4 minutes and 48 seconds of this game. It's one thing the Jets are going to have to guard against.
So Randy Carlisle in the box for hooking, and the Rangers will go on the power play. The Jets penalty killing is 5th in the NHL, and the Rangers power play 8th.
But they got 4 power play goals in 6 tries Saturday night in their win over LA.
Here's a blast from Turcotte, deflected wide. Turcotte playing the point in the absence of Brian Leach. Newmanen trying to backhand it out. And the Rangers brought it out. Patrick from outside the line slops it in for New York. Mike Eagles was hooked by Amati along the boards. Puck came to the point. to James Patrick. Backhands it down the boards. Boughton there for Winnipeg, and he shoots it down the ice. 1:28 left in the penalty to Randy Carlyle. Still scoreless in New York. Turcotte to Amati. Gets around Boughton. Tried to center it. Came to Turcotte at the point. Waite winding up. Hit a skate in front. Backhand shot by Patrick. Rangers kicking at it. They played it back to the point, and Turcotte wasn't in position.
Turcotte's the point man they'd like to get the puck to for the big point shot.
Darren Shannon nearly stole at the Jets with only one shorthanded goal on the season. Turcotte for Doug Waite off his stick. Waller plays it down the boards to Darren Shannon, and he tips it to center. 40 seconds remaining in the penalty. Zubov goes rink wide to Amati. Back the other way to Turcotte. He fires it wide of the net. Shannon bumped in the corner. Amati to Zubov. Back to Amati, return pass. Takes the shot. Still waiting. And the Rangers got a little too cute. And the Jets send it down the ice. 20 seconds left in the Ranger power play. Juice will try his luck to Zubov. He shoots it in. Essensa couldn't stop it behind the net. Eagles kicks it for Newman. He's paired on defense with Dean Kennedy. Puck loose behind the net. Adam Graves in the corner. Gardner, shot by Olczyk. Good save by Essensa. Rebound, another save by Essensa. Off his old teammate, Ed Olczyk, who had a couple of good chances there. Olczyk with only one goal since coming to New York, and the penalty is over to Carlyle.
This is a nice opportunity. Watch the pass from behind the net right here as Steve King throws it out. Not on the side he's going to, but on the side he's leaving. And Olczyk couldn't fool Essensa, who hung on to the right post long enough to make the save. That's a tough play for the goalie, because he has to be ready to move across the net in case that guy tries to come out from behind and jam it. If he leaves too early, the score would have been 1-0 New York. Eddie Olczyk shaking his head. He had a good opportunity and couldn't put it. Jay Wells, a grade 2 sprained knee. He won't be around for more than a month, I'm sure.
Frederick Olsson for the Jets out with a sprained knee. Ulanov thought he was sitting on the puck, and the Rangers very nearly had a good scoring chance. Rangers have outshot the Jets 6-1 as we have a stoppage in play. 12:54 remaining first period.
You mentioned Stu Barnes. He's had a pretty nice start to his second try here in the National League. 5 points. There's Ron Smith, the new coach of the New York Rangers. They are 3-2-3 under him. He was handed the live grenade with the pin out by New York General Manager Neil Smith, taking over a Ranger team that was in complete disarray. Injured, not much in the way of team unity.
Here's King in front. Backhand shot. Essensa the save. Koser right on the edge of the crease. But again, the Jets goalie comes up big as the Rangers are getting some chances early in this one.
Here's a look at it right here. Not great defensive zone coverage. There are two Jets back there, but neither one of them do a very good job on either one of the Rangers. And Steve King gets the chance, and Kosher's trying to put it in the net. Here's the giveaway right here. And there's the poor defensive zone coverage where the Jet defenseman, or the defenseman, and number 14, Stu Barnes, got a little confused on the assignment.
Joey Koser making a good hit on Ulanov to set up that chance. Olczyk wins the draw. Kevin Lowe's slap shot off the blocker of Essensa. Randy Carlyle for the Jets. He sends John Druce away with Barnes and Davidoff. Housley also joining the attack. Back to Druce in front, and he slid it wide. Koser in the corner. Dumped it to the line. Housley kept it in for Winnipeg. Barnes trying to center it for Davidoff. King can't reach it. Carlyle from the point. Weird bounce off the glass. Drew shoots. Loose puck in front. Jets bang away at it. And Mike Richter was able to keep it out.
I think we're going to see a penalty here. Dave Jackson, the Ranger defenseman, I'm not sure who, knocked the Jet forward into the net after the play. A nice keep-in by Carlyle there, and got a good bounce off the glass. Here's the opportunity, and here comes the penalty. Whoa. Cross-check from behind.
Jets power play when we return to New York.
Used to sitting in that spot in Madison Square Gardens, and every other rink in the National League takes a cross-checking or a roughing penalty as he threw the Winnipeg player into the net as he was trying to fish the puck from underneath Richter.
Jets with good special teams, 6th on the power play, 5th in penalty killing, as I mentioned. The Rangers' penalty killing is 15th.
There's only one team in the league who have better combined special teams. Washington.
And they have Housley on the power play tonight. And Housley has the puck. Left it in the corner, came to Newman. He's watched by Turcotte to Zhamnov along the board. Solani parked off the side of the net. Tkachuk standing in front. Jets mishandle it and will have to regroup. Teppo Numminen leads the Jets to center. Slaps it in. Solani in the corner. Goes down. Bukaboom. High over Numminen and down the ice.
Last year, the Rangers, of course, finished first overall in their penalty killing. Only allowed 60 power play goals against in the whole season. They've had 55 scored against them already this season.
Jets are halted again. Here's Solani back in his own zone. Left the puck for Phil Housley. Erickson and Graves up front. Zubov and Juice on defense for the Rangers. Numminen at the left point. Jets on a power play to Teemu Solani. Zhamnov cruising in front. Tkachuk standing in front. Zhamnov back to Numminen. Over to Solani. Side of the net for Tkachuk. For Housley in the corner. Back of the point for Zhamnov, but Adam Graves got there and broke that play up. Here come the Rangers. Erickson in front for Graves, tied up by Zhamnov, and he has drawn a penalty.
Well, the Jets got a little careless and then had to take a penalty here on a play that should have been fairly harmless. Zhamnov gets half trapped, but he gets some help from Numminen. There's still a 2-on-2. There's no need to trip either player, but you can see that Zhamnov kind of let Graves go to the net and then had to haul him down. So we will play 17 seconds, 4 skaters against 4, and then the New York Rangers will get a power play for slightly more than a minute and 40 seconds.
Adam Graves has been hot for the Rangers. Had 3 points in the 8-3 win over L.A. Saturday. 2 goals and an assist. Already reached the 20-goal mark on the season. Zhamnov off for the Jets. 17 seconds left in the penalty to Joey Kocur. And then John Paddock's team will be shorthanded for the second time tonight. 4-on-4 situation. Back to Kevin Lowe. To Juice. His slap shot hit Mike Lawler. Attempted to bank it off the boards. Lawler has the puck again for Winnipeg. To Sergei Boughton. Ahead for Drews. Lowe pinching for the Rangers, and the puck went high and out of play.
Well, there's been all kinds of talk about the Domi King factor and the improved Jets. Listen to these stats since these two guys have arrived. 11-1-2 they are. They're unbeaten in their last 8 at home. They came from behind by 3 goals in 2 of the last 4 games to win. Domi has fought Manson, Grimson, Agnew, and Berube. Solani has 26 points, Housley 22, Zhamnov 17. And when you look at that group of gunfighters that Domi's fought, Wyatt Earp never got that kind of an assignment in the old days.
Sure, Neil Smith, who we had a look at, the Ranger GM, not surprised. Tony Amati streaking down the left side, attempted to center it. And the play was broken up. Good thing for the Jets as the Ranger was wide open in front.
Well, you can thank Essenza for dragging that left pad and actually blocking the pass, not the shot, as that is the 3rd 2-on-1 that the Winnipeg Jets have given the New York Rangers. And if you keep giving them these, they're going to burn you. Watch Essenza. He doesn't make the save, but he stops the pass. Here's a better look at it. Left leg. If that pass gets through, it's 1-0.
Bob Essenza very good at covering the lower portion of the ice. Likes that butterfly style, and it certainly worked there. Amati, a rink-wide pass for Turcotte. Rangers on a power play, 1:10 left in the penalty to Zhamnov. Doug Waite shoots it in. Essensa stops it behind the net. Kennedy didn't see the puck. Newmanen did, and he shoots it right on Mike Richter. That's the Jets' fourth shot. The Rangers have 9 in the first period, which is still scoreless. Turcotte to Amati. Led NHL rookies in goals and points last year. Gardner trying to go for the net. Speaking of quick forwards, and Essensa covers up.
Well, you have to like the speed of the Winnipeg Jets. And in order to maximize your speed on the forward line, you have to have defensemen who can get the puck to those forwards on the fly. And Teppo Newmanen is one of those fellas. Those speedy, skilled forwards, like half a dozen of the Jets, don't like the pucks that are rolled around the boards on the breakout. They want the crisp passes right on the tape, right when they get into high gear. And the Jet defense corps, pretty good at that.
Teppo Newmanen played in all 80 games for 2 consecutive seasons for the Jets. Led them in plus-minus last year at plus 15. John Paddock will tell you he's one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL.
This is his 220th consecutive game.
Turcotte's pass across, and Steen got a stick in the way. Olczyk in front of Graves. The shot went for the top corner. Missed the target, and the puck went over the glass and into the seats. And Harry,
there's 320.
Spilled a beer.
There's 325 right down the drain here at Madison Square Garden.
Dry cleaning charge.
And I don't know whether those pants are cleanable, but if they are, it's another 325.
I think that was a Miller Genuine Draft he spilled. Now they're trying to find the puck.
Well, it goes over the boards. There goes his beer on his pants and on his little suitcase there. And now they're looking for the puck.
30 seconds left in the Jets penalty. Sergei Zubov slowly to center. Pass for Graves, picked off by Thomas Steen. Rink-wide pass for Olczyk. He turns and drives it in for New York. Mike Lawler. Across for Shannon. Couldn't poke it out against Turcotte. Olczyk along the boards. Back to Turcotte at the point. Side of the net for Adam Graves. Lawler tried to ride him off the puck. Olczyk has it for the Rangers. Jamnoff on the ice. Olczyk shot goes wide. Essensa was down trying to see it. Play along the boards. Stephen King can't dig it free, and Darren Shannon, the former first-round pick, backhands it in for Winnipeg. Jeff Bukaboom to Adam Graves. Flips it high for Nemchinov. Kulinoff knocks that down. Bukaboom through center for Nemchinov. Jets skated here at Madison Square Garden this morning, said the ice wasn't very good, but that's no surprise. And there's King and Domi combining for a sandwich. Now Domi hauled down, and Nemchinov will get a penalty. So a good second shift for Ty Domi of the Jets. And they'll have the manageable good ones, and we'll have the Reimer Express out-of-town scoreboard. That all coming up in our first intermission. Jets on their second power play. Nemchinov off for dumping Ty Domi. 7:46 remaining first period. It's 0-0. Jets have Housley and Newmanen on the point. Jamnoff, Solani, and Tkachuk up front. Housley to Jamnoff. Stick handled as far as the line, and then it was cleared by Lowe. Bill Housley. His pass off a stick. Lowe for Turcotte at center. And it's Housley at his own line. To Teppo Newmanen. He shoots it in. Tkachuk bumps in the corner with Lowe. At the point, it's Housley. To Jamnoff. Tkachuk standing in front. Newmanen. To Solani, one-timer. Fired it right over the top of the crease. Housley. In the corner for Tkachuk. Kevin Lowe is there with him. Good work by Lowe along the boards. And Jan Eriksson clears it. 54 seconds left in this Jets power play in a scoreless first period. Teppo Newmanen. John Druce into the Rangers zone. He lost possession. Here's Graves after Newmanen. Stepped into him. Broughton from the corner out in front for Graves. And he couldn't handle the pass. John Druce, the former Capital. He's used to seeing these New York Rangers for Stu Barnes. And a penalty behind the play.
a holding penalty, and I think it's going to go to the Winnipeg Jets. I didn't see the call. John Bruce is going to get it. He was holding the stick right there. He's got a hold of the stick for way too long if he expects to get away with it in this year's version of the National League. He's shaking his head. The referees are calling that all the time. John Bruce, of course, played a lot of hockey here against New York when he was in Washington. 21 games, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points. 4-on-4 for 28 seconds. And then the Jets will get about 3/4 of a power play.
Ed Olczyk right off the faceoff, heads for the Jet zone, fakes the shot. Now lets it go, essence it down to make the save on Ed Olczyk, who's probably been the most dangerous Ranger here in the first period.
Well, he hasn't scored the way he'd like to score for the Rangers, although he did get 2 assists Saturday night against L.A. And one thing this guy can do is create some points. And the other thing is he's never hesitant to take a shot on goal. There's Neil Smith, the general manager of the New York Rangers, shaking his head, I'm sure, at the fact that the Rangers have had some good scoring opportunities and haven't been able to put them away yet.
Housley spinning in the corner to Thomas Steen. Mike Lawler overskates the puck near the Jets bench, and it's Steen back to collect it for Winnipeg. To Phil Housley. Slowly to center. Dumps it in for Stu Barnes, who had the game winner against the Oilers on Saturday. Phil Bourque from the corner. Trying to hit Gardner. Nemchinov out of the box. Gives it to Gardner one-on-one against Kennedy. Slap shot off Kennedy to the corner. Gardner after it again. And Essensa was down to make the save.
Well, I don't think there's a goalie in the league that gets out as far beyond the circular crease as Essensa does when he's fairly sure that the player's going to shoot it like Gardner did on that last rush.
Rangers on their third man advantage. To Amati on the left side, cutting in against Kennedy. Amati centers it for Doug Wade. He's tied up by Carlisle. Now he centers it off Essence's stick. And Darren Shannon sends Jamnoff away. Couldn't be Turcotte and was upended. Kennedy nearly got caught, but he has the puck. Left it along the boards for Jamnoff. Trying to cut to the net, centers it for Shannon. Couldn't get a shot away. Shannon goes to the corner. Good penalty killing here by the Jets. With 39 seconds remaining in the penalty, they steal it again. Jamnoff trying to center it. Turcotte for the Rangers. Finally, they come out to Amati. He drops it for Parajuice. To Turcotte. Into the Jet zone. A weak shot off Carlisle. Bounces to the corner. Carlisle tackled his man, and the fans wanted a penalty. Doug Wade from the corner centers it for Amati. Play was broken up, and here's Housley for the Jets. Juice trying to catch him. Housley cutting in to the forehand. Great save by Richter. Rebound. Another stop by Richter. 2 great saves by Mike Richter. There is a penalty on the play, however. Richter stopping Housley, and then Sergei Boutin as the Jets defense jumps into the play, but the fans are welcoming back Mike Richter.
Now 2 glorious stops. The first one on Phil Housley, who had a full head of speed.
You're watching the Jets live
at the point, like the Rangers do Turcotte. Sometimes he forgets to be a good defenseman. He had to take the penalty as he tied up Boutin on the rebound.
Jets on their third power play of the first period. Broughton roughing up Newmanen near the Ranger bench. Adam Graves fires it down the ice. Newmanen and Housley at the points. Tkachuk, Steen, and Davidoff up front for Winnipeg. Here comes Keith Tkachuk. To Thomas Steen. Back to Tkachuk. He lost control of it. And Paul Broughton shoots it down.
Rangers having difficulty getting over the line on the power play, the Ranger blue line, with the puck under control.
Thomas Steen put it right on the stick of Jan Eriksson, and he dumps it to the Jets line. Newmanen forced back. Newmanen out to center. He slaps it into the Ranger zone. Bukaboom trying to find it along the boards. Housley kept it in at least momentarily. There's a lead pass for Nemchinov. Goes behind the net. Newmanen trying to stay with him. Nemchinov doing some good work. Finally, the Jets have it. Newmanen to Davidoff. Into the Ranger zone. Fake the shot. Rink wide to Mike Lawler. Puck hopped away from him, poked away, and here comes Broughton in against Essensa. All alone, Broughton right in. Essensa got a piece of it. Bookaboo following up. Played it high off the glass. Phil Bork for Nemchinov behind the net. Bork paired on defense with Jeff Bookaboo, and he was a former top defenseman in the International League, although most of his NHL games have been at forward. Steen swings it in.
Jay Wells is hurt, and that's the reason that Ron Smith has got Bork back on defense. That's Phil Bork. Unfortunately, for Smith, it's not Raymond.
Gulanov's shot goes wide. Jamnoff side of the net. Solani got a shot away. Richter another save. Rebound. Solani pokes out. Here's Ulanov shooting. That's blocked at the defense. And the Rangers clear it. They're back at full strength. And still tied at 0 thanks to Mike Richter.
I got to thank Bob Essensa for the 0 under the Ranger sign on the scoreboard. He's been brilliant, too.
Doug Waite side of the net centers it for Amati. Mike Lawler into the corner. Amati there. Left it for Adam Graves. Behind the net. Waite coming in front. Backhand shot. Essensa the save. Loose puck in front. Big pile up of players. Essensa's down, but the puck's behind the net.
Graves' stick is caught in Essensa's glove. Now, there can't be a penalty on this, but Graves' stick got in behind the blocker of Bob Essensa. And Graves, in trying to leave the region, pulled Essensa 10 feet out the net. It's a good move by the referee to blow the whistle before Graves and or Essensa lost their temper, thinking that one or the other was holding the stick.
I've never seen that before. Have you?
I can't say that I have. You have to wonder whether Essensa's glove is in good shape. Richter makes a dazzling stop right here to keep this game at 0-0 as the Jets on the power play ended up with a good opportunity on a cross the crease pass right there, and they got another chance right here, and the puck never got to Richter on that one. The goalies have been the stars so far here at Madison Square Garden with a minute and a half left in the first period.
Rangers keep it in. Olczyk dumps it to the corner. Sergei Boutin behind the net. To Chris King. Rink-wide pass for Ty Domi. Zubov banks it off the boards. Stephen King with the Eagles on top of him. Back to Zubov in his own zone. Pass through center for Olczyk. That failed to connect, but Essensa has to play it. Boutin out of the corner to Ty Domi. Backhands it in wide of the Ranger goal. Chris King pinned on the boards by Zubov with less than a minute to play in the first. They battle for it in the corner. Mike Eagles fired it in front for Domi. Chris King in to help out. Came to the point. Boutin can't keep it onside with 38 seconds remaining in the first. Over to Randy Carlyle. Dumps it into the Ranger zone. Richter to Pear-Juice. Zubov, the Juice at the side of the goal. He played it off the boards for Erickson. Puck out at center to Darren Shannon, and he shoots it in for Winnipeg. Pear-Juice. He and Zubov recently recalled from Binghamton. Here's the speedy Mike Gartner. Put it through the slot to Erickson. He had to hold up. Kevin Lowe bats it to the front of the net. Newman into Domi, just 5 seconds. Domi moving in. Tejamna back to Domi. Shoots wide. Richter may have got a piece of it as Ty Domi had an excellent chance late in the first.
Now, you know how Domi would love to have buried that baby to score in front of his own fans. Here's the chance. He makes a nice little pass right there to Zamnoff, then goes to the net and gets it back. And Richter, I don't know whether Richter stopped her or went wide. But here's another look at it. We'll be able to tell on this one. There's Domi with it. Wide open net. And he flips it wide of the goal.
And as usual, Ty has a smile on his face. Coming up in our first intermission, Joe Pascucci is joined in the studio by Jets captain Troy Murray. The score after one at MSG. The Rangers nothing and the Jets nothing.
On CKND. And now joining me once again is the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, Troy Murray. And Troy, let's get you back on the ice so you won't have to be working as a studio guest all the rest of the season here.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing this very long. It's not my career just quite yet.
Okay, there's a chance you may get on this road trip.
Yeah, I'm hoping to join the hockey club somewhere down the line, maybe in Hartford and possibly Ottawa. And I won't know whether I'm able to play a hockey game until I practice full out with the team, and of course that's not possible while I'm skating here by myself. So that's what we're looking forward to getting back on the road and practicing.
All right, kind of a scrambly first period, but that's because of the ice conditions at Madison Square Garden, which are usually bad.
Madison Square Garden ice has always been bad, and you don't make the pretty plays in New York. The power play especially, you got to just put the puck at the net. You don't want the pre passes because sooner or later the puck's going to bounce and you're not going to get the play that you want. So you want to keep everything simple. You want to get over the red line. If you don't have an opportunity to make a play on net, you dump it in and you get it.
All right, shots on goal in that first period, 14-9 in favor of the New York Rangers. So it was a big period for Bob Essenza, and we have a couple of saves to show that he made in that one. The first one off Sergei Nemchinov, it was a 2-on-1 break for the Rangers.
Yeah, Bob's played extremely well all year, and tonight he's probably kept the Jets in the first period. Here he makes a great save that the play comes over, and he kept his eye on the puck, and the defender, our defender, let the guy go into the middle of the net, and he didn't worry about the other guy. He concentrated on the shooter, and that's what he's got to do.
All right, good defensive play there by Mike Lawler as well. And another Essenza save later on in the period. There were so many, we really had to pick and choose which one. This one was on Broughton.
Yeah, this was he's coming down, Paul Broughton. I think he's short-handed here. And Bobby comes way out of the net, takes the angle away, backs in perfectly, and makes a great toe save. I mean, he's playing well right now, and like you say, he's one of the reasons that we've been doing so well in this streak, that Bobby's been so sharp and on top of his game.
All right, serious injury in that first period to the Rangers, Jay Wells, and kind of unfortunate that Davidoff hit from behind by Adam Graves and driven right into that knee.
Yeah, that's just one of the things that happens. It was a freak play, and then Davidoff got hit from behind, and Jay Wells just was playing his man, and Davidoff fell into his knee and buckled it, and you could see it on TV clearly that he's gonna be out for a while.
All right,
that hit.
Troy Murray, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again in the second intermission.
Okay, Joe.
All right, and coming up next on CKND, we're going to profile the Jet rookies. The Jets and the Rangers scoreless after one period of play. You're watching Molson Jets hockey on CKND. You're watching Jets hockey on CKND, and it is scoreless after one period of play at Madison Square Garden. The Jets and the New York Rangers. Well, no other team in the National Hockey League has tied their success to their rookies as much as the Winnipeg Jets have. And the rookies have responded, scoring 86 of the team's 185 goals. And the rookies having a big impact on the Jets this season. So far, no scoring from the rooks or the veterans tonight at Madison Square Garden. Coming up, highlights in the scoreboard. The Reimer Express out-of-town scoreboard when our telecast continues after this.
Harry Neal, the summary brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of NHL hockey. No goals in the first period thanks to some strong goaltending by both Bob Essense and Mike Richter. The Shots, New York 14 and the Jets 9.
Well, the Rangers have two bits of bad news. We saw Wells get hurt. He's going to be out at least 6 weeks. We did not see Patrick get hurt. James Patrick hurt his knee. He's going to be out a minimum of 2 weeks. So the Ranger defense corps with Leach out for at least 6 weeks is depleted badly. And that was the problem area before any of these injuries cropped up. So you're going to see Phil Bourque drop back and play defense as the 5th defenseman for the Rangers. As Bruce mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he played defense for Muskegon in the International Hockey League. In fact, he won the Defenseman of the Year award in 1988, so it's not as if he's never played back there. But the Winnipeg Jets, you'd think, would take advantage of this situation and pound those Ranger defensemen on the forecheck with some aggressive body checks.
And I'm sure that's the plan of the Jets. Ty Domi with a terrific opportunity late in the first period. It would have been interesting to see the reaction of the Ranger fans that Ty put it in the net.
Probably would have been up into the seats shaking hands with half of them. He'll never get a better chance. But you know, he's noted for good hands when he closes them and makes fists out of them. But when he opens them, they're not so delicate.
Second period underway. Newman and into the Ranger zone. Into the corner for Stu Barnes. Nemchina put it on Davidoff's stick. Rebound to Davidoff. Another shot. Richter 2 saves on Evgeny Davidoff. Newman and turns and shoots off the skate of Mike Gartner. More teams will be sending their goalies to the minors for a couple of weeks if they're going to come back and play like Richter has tonight. Battle for the puck in the corner. Davidoff in to help out for Winnipeg. Stu Barnes also in there. Bukaboom trying to move it up the boards. Jets with good pressure to start the second period. Now Erickson gets it out. Boughton at his own line. Davidoff to John Druce. Had his stick lifted as he tried to shoot it. Kevin Lowe takes over for the Rangers. Lowe flipping it to the line. Boughton knocked it down to Newmanen, who was hit by Gartner. Davidoff faked the shot against Bukaboom. Rolled it into the corner, and the Jets make a change. Bukaboom dumped it to the Jets line. Here's Phil Housley on the attack. The Zhamnov took it off his skate, trying to go around Zubov. Quick shot, and Mike Richter made another stop for the Rangers.
Boy, the real beauty of that play right there, Housley's pass, but the way this guy Zhamnov took the pass on his skate and got it right up to his feet without even breaking stride. This is the end of it, and he snaps one quickly at Richter, and Richter makes the save. A real skilled operator, this young man. 1 goal in his first 23 games. Since then, he's been a dynamo.
Funny you should say that. That's who he played for. And
I wondered if you were going to catch that one, Bruce.
In Moscow, led the Canada Cup in scoring in '91. In goal scoring that year. Here's Bourque right in back and scores!
Well, Phil Bourque gets his 5th goal of the season on a breakdown on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets to allow Bourque to walk in all alone on Essense. He walks in right here, does a nice job on the defenseman. Randy Carlyle, who didn't turn on him, tried to back into him, and Bourque with a great set of legs steps by Carlyle right here. Fake inside, go outside. Carlyle misses him and bumps into Housley, his defense partner. Then it was all Bourque. He looked a little like Raymond on that play, Bruce. Here's the last look at it. as he put it between the legs of Bob Essence as he cut across in front of him.
Looked like a forward, not a defenseman on that one.
Sure did.
Olczyk pokes it in for the Rangers, so the goose egg is broken. It's 1-0 Rangers on the goal by Bort. Penalty behind the play. Stephen King was dumped. And now the Rangers will go on a power play.
I think Mike Eagles is going to get it. I'm not sure. They're going to call it high sticking. We'll have a look at it right here. Boy, I don't know why there's a penalty on that one. It is Eagles. And he kind of flew over the Ranger player.
I don't think he believes it either.
I mean, that was... I think John Paddock, he's looking up at the scoreboard here in the center of the rink at Madison Square Garden for a replay of the penalty because he doesn't believe it. Eagles doesn't believe it, but the problem is referee Jackson believes it. He's the guy that counts.
So Mike Eagles goes off just after the Rangers scored. Bort from Zuboff and Graves at 1:42.
I really think that Steve King was trying to hit Eagles on the play. And Eagles just got out of the way, and King went flying. My guess is that referee Jackson just saw it out of the corner of his eye, the end of it, not the start of it.
Rangers on their fourth power play. Darren Turcotte shoots it in. Essensa couldn't trap it along the boards. Bowden gets to it. Can't clear it. Jets get it out. Jamnoff caught from behind by Amati. Mike Gartner, a nifty move at his own line. Pass on the left side and into the Jet zone. Amati giving chase. Left the puck for Doug Waite. Back to Amati. To Darren Turcotte. He moves to the middle. Now lets the shot go. Blocked in front by Bowden. Zuboff behind the net for Doug Waite. Waite and Amati in their second season with the Rangers. Amati in the corner to Waite. Back to Amati. At the point to Turcotte. The slop shot. Blocker saved by Essensa, who saw it all the way. And the Jets shoot it down.
You know, one way of evaluating penalty killing in power play special teams, and Winnipeg is good in both areas, is to add up the rankings in both. And I'll tell you in a minute where Winnipeg sits when you do that. Sometimes gives you another look at that stat.
Dean Kennedy failed to clear it. Zuboff. Graves pokes it in front. Olczyk after it. Here's Graves. Had it hop away from him. Housley couldn't clear it. Olczyk. Off the boards to King. At the point to Turcotte. Back to King. For Olczyk in the corner. Puck got away from him. Graves for the Rangers. Weak pass to Stephen King. Zuboff in front. Here's Zuboff. Shot scores!
Sergei Zuboff, a nice play coming off the point and taking the pass and snaps it upstairs over Essensa, who is coming across. Now Zuboff comes off the point. The play's in deep. You're going to see him in a second arrive. Here he goes, right there to the right of your screen. Bill Housley's got his back to him and didn't see him. And Zuboff got the puck at a bad angle on a pass right here from number 25, Stephen King, and snaps it up over an outstretched Essensa, who had the bottom of the net covered, but couldn't cover the top. A nice wait there. He waited till Essensa went down and then put it in.
Goals less than 2 minutes apart by the New York Rangers to take a 2-0 lead. Rule it off to Steen. Dumps it into the Ranger zone. Solani giving chase for the Jets. Good move on low in the corner. Solani gets away from Nemchinov. Steen for Winnipeg. To Solani in the slot. Shoots off the side of the post. And Richter beaten on that one. Jets buzzing around. Solani at the side of the net. Looking for Steen. Solani trying to pick it up. It's Bukaboom for the Rangers around the glass and out to center. Rule it off for the Jets to Housley. Back to Ulanoff. To Steen for Kachuk. Hands it off to Solani. Steen goes for the net. Solani shoots, and Richter got a piece of that one.
Boy, both these goalies love to get out of their net and cut that angle down. A late pass across could put him in deep trouble if you can complete it.
Now the Jets have had to come from behind in several of their games lately, and they'll have to do it again tonight.
2 of their last 4 wins, they were 3 goals down. Came from behind to win it. But that's a nasty little habit to get into.
Pass through center. Bowden to Stu Barnes. He's with Davidoff. Barnes heads for the net. Passes it off. Shot by Druce, and Richter was there again for the Rangers. There's a lead pass for Amati off Davidoff's stick. Jets are getting chances, but Mike Richter is shutting the door so far. And now the Jets are called for icing. From the Garden, your Miller Genuine Draft telecast.
Play, store and win it safely.
Jets will return home a week from tonight and take on Brett Hull and the St. Louis Blues. For tickets, call 780-SEAT for the Jets and Blues next Wednesday at the Winnipeg Arena. Goals by Bork and Zubov in the second period for New York, and they have taken a 2-0 lead with 5:03 gone in period 2. Newman headmans it to Davidoff, to John Druce. Back to Davidoff. The slap shot went for the far corner and missed the goal. Newman in behind the net. Davidoff bumped with Kevin Lowe. Pair of juice for the Rangers. Remember, the Rangers without James Patrick and Jay Wells, who were both injured in the first period. Now the Rangers are called for icing as Nemchinov mixes it up with Teppo Newman.
Well, we had a nice supper last night at that trendy Manhattan restaurant that you wanted to go to, Bruce. I don't know whether you heard people in front of us in the lineup talking to the maitre d'. I did. The maitre d' said, "Did you have any trouble parking? It's a problem around here." People in front of us said, no, we used your valet parking." And the maitre d' said to them, "I hope you got a good look at the guy who drove your car away, because we don't have valet parking." So anything happens in this big city, as you well know.
Yeah, you have to be careful with your possessions in New York.
Ron Smith, of course, has had lots of experience coaching at the assistant coach level in the National League with Toronto, Buffalo. He worked with me in Vancouver, and here in New York with Roger Nielsen before he went to Binghamton to coach the American League team. A guy who's been around and knows what you have to know about this game. His object, get the best players healthy and have them play the best.
Bill Housley's pass at center, intercepted by Bukaboom, right back to Housley. Jamnov at center to Teemu Solani. Moving in against Zubov. Couldn't hop around him. Zubov to the point. Eriksson. Olchek left it for Broughton. His shot off the leg of Randy Carlyle to the corner. Then chopped wide of the net by Olchek. Carlyle, the 36-year-old veteran, out to Solani. Left it for Jamnov for Darren Shannon, but the Jets are offside. 6:04 has been played in the second period. 2-0 Rangers.
Well, I mentioned the power play and penalty killing statistics. Zubov, the 22-year-old defenseman right there, isn't going to be fooled by the player that he's played lots of hockey against in international competition. Solani was Finland, Zubov in the Soviet Union. But if you add the rankings together of the power play and the penalty killing, Washington is number 1 with 5. And the Winnipeg Jets are number 2 with an 11 score, the lowest score being the best.
Air juice to Stephen King. For Joey Kosar at the line. Back to Olchek. His shot didn't get through. Kosar following up. Centers it. Stephen King couldn't get a stick on it. Phil Bork back on defense. Dumped it in for King. Now Ty Domi flips it high in the air. Bounces into Richter, and he takes no chances. Puck squirted free from him with Chris King right on top of him. Bork is bumped by Eagles. Puck was outside the line. Shot in by Eagles as Kosar mixes it up with him, and those two had a fight in Winnipeg earlier in the season. Bill Bork to Pear Juice. Pass through center, tipped in by Stephen King. Dean Kennedy back to touch it. And the Rangers are assessed an icing infraction.
Well, Ty Domi's been pretty sensible tonight. He's thrown a couple of body checks. He's missed what looked like a sure goal. He certainly hasn't shown any sign of showboating or hot dogging like a lot of people thought he might here on his first return to Madison Square Garden. But we're not halfway through the game yet.
Well, he'll come in handy tomorrow night at Boston Garden for the Jets.
He comes in handy every night, this guy. That was a wise acquisition by Mike Smith, the GM of the Winnipeg Jets, getting King and Domi and sacrificing an offensively talented player, of which they have quite a few, Eddie Olczyk.
Boughton's slap shot was handled by Richter. Nemchinov for the Rangers. To Turcotte, his shot, and Essensa made a good stop for the Jets to keep the score at 2-0 New York.
Darren Turcotte's 10 points in his last 12 games. Coming in it tonight, he's got the big shot on the New York team. And there's a look at Phil Bourque getting a little water, as he's going to see lots of action tonight. He signed as a free agent coming over from the two-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins.
Darren Turcotte has scored at least 20 goals his first 4 seasons as a Ranger.
Last year, 21 of his 30 goals came right here in Madison Square Garden.
Solani in a foot race with Kevin Lowe when he should win, but he was held up by the Rangers defenseman. Tkachuk bumped with Bukaboom. Mike Gartner, honored before the game, missed Nemchinov with a pass, picks it up himself. Then nearly coughed it up to Tkachuk. Bukaboom out to center. Boughton golfs it to Thomas Dean with Tkachuk. Drop pass to Tkachuk. He banged up his shoulder, and the Jets win over the Oilers on Saturday, but Tkachuk in the lineup tonight for the Jets. Jets are kind of hemming the Rangers in, but haven't been able to beat Mike Richter as of yet.
Well, Richter was the #1 goalie for the Rangers as far as the future was concerned till the playoffs last year. Then Roger Nielsen couldn't find a #1 goalie no matter who he tried. And this year, of all the problems he had, one of them was neither Van Beesbrook or Richter came to the forefront as the obvious #1 man.
Housley to Thomas Dean. Here come the Jets again. Drop pass to Davidoff. Right in. Tried to set up John Druce, and a good defensive play by Bukaboom. Back come the Rangers. Turcotte with Gartner. Turcotte to Gartner. Backhand shot, and Essensa got his shoulder on that one. Good end-to-end action. Here comes Stu Barnes with Davidoff. Barnes cuts to the middle. Left the puck for Housley. Right in. Shoots. And Richter got his pad on that one, and it trickled wide. Another great chance for the Jets. Housley backhands it down the boards, and it's Doug Waite for the Rangers. Bourque heading for the net, and Housley got in front of that pass. Good action here in the second period. 2-0 Rangers. Stu Barnes back the other way to Drew. Slap shot just wide. Barnes in the corner. He's hit. Davidoff and Bourque fight for it. Barnes back to Ulyanov at the point. His shot scores!
I think Housley tipped it in, although it may well have been Stu Barnes that did it. Not very many defensemen tip shots in for goals. Housley gets a half a dozen a year like that, as he's a forward that plays defense. And that's a much-needed goal for the Jets. Here is a lonely soul here at Madison Square Garden, and here's a look at it. It goes to the point. Ulyanov shoots it, and Phil Housley didn't touch it. It went off the Ranger player, Zubov, number 21. So Ulanov's going to get credit for the goal, I think. Let's have another look. Housley's in front of the net, but I think it hit the Ranger player. So Ulyanov should get credit for it. One more look. There's where it hits him right there, and then goes right by Phil Housley, who would have tipped it.
Ulanov's second goal of the year. Mr. W. Lincoln of Winnipeg is their first winner in the Safeway Score and Win contest by attaching a proof of purchase from 5 Roses Flour to a ballot provided by his local Safeway. Mr. Lincoln has won a Macassa Orchard Odyssey dinnerware set. Safeway continuing to provide great prizes in the Score and Win contest on Ulanov's second of the year's 30th game, and here come the Jets again. Solani turns against Kevin Lowe, lost his stick, and the Rangers have it. I'd say the Jets deserve that goal, Harry. They were putting some pressure on the Rangers. Kennedy out to Solani. He lost it at the line to Broughton. His slap shot, Essence of the save. Rebound, he backs away at it. Couldn't control it, but the puck went wide. Lawler to Shannon. Puck bounces high to the Ranger line. Bukaboom. His pass went off Erickson. Olczyk for New York. Flips it in on Essensa. Dean Kennedy for Mike Lawler. He's stopped by Zubov. Moving in is Nemchinov. Great save by Essence. A rebound. He made another stop. Great burst of speed by Nemchinov.
I think you can see why the Ranger forwards have the same kind of speed as a group as do the Jet forwards. To give them an opening, it's tough to close it.
Stephen King picks it up right in. Couldn't get a shot away. Then was flattened as he went crashing into the net. Gardner mixed it up with Lawler. Has the puck. Gardner hauled down behind the net. Nemchinov trying to cut in front. There's the shot. Hit Lawler. Rebound. Essence made the save. Another shot into a pile in the crease. And now the Jets will get a penalty, but they're lucky the Rangers didn't get a goal. 2-1 New York.
Mike Eagles has taken a penalty, so the New York Rangers will go on the power play. An excellent stop by Essence on Rangers' Steve King,
who has 6 goals in 11 games since coming up. Juice, his shot goes wide. Rangers on their 5th power play. They scored on the last one. And they lead it 2-1 with 8:35 remaining. Second period. Boughton is hammered by Doug Waite. Gardner's shot. Essence made the save and a big rebound out to center. The goaltending has been very solid in this one. Housley nearly stole that rink-wide pass.
Well, Housley, a defenseman, is playing forward as a penalty killer here.
Herr Juice. He stopped at the line, and Newmanen sends the Rangers back. Darren Turcotte carries to center, drives it in off Shannon, and the Rangers called on the offside.
Well, Tony Amonte, one of the bright young players for the New York Rangers, 5 points in the last 4 games. Last year he led the NHL rookies with 35 goals. He was the Hockey News and the Sporting News Rookie of the Year, but finished second in the Calder Trophy race to Pavel Bure as the NHL Rookie of the Year. And he played at Thayer Academy, a high school in New England, with Jeremy Roenick. Must have been a pretty good high school team with those two birds.
Got that right. Barnes and Davidoff assisted on the goal by Ulanoff that has brought the Jets to within 1. 1 minute left in the penalty. Stephen King not as far as the line. Jamnoff for the Jets. This is something John Paddock has started to do. Uses more talented players up front, and Richter had to be careful with that shoot-in. Not a bad idea, because those talented players can get you some shorthanded goals.
And the Winnipeg Jets only have 1, which is not good enough for the kind of people they have killing penalties.
Stephen King shot off the stick of Mike Lawler, and a souvenir for this boisterous crowd in New York.
Stephen King, recalled from Binghamton, with 5 goals, 22 assists, 47 points in 35 games. He was picked up in the supplemental draft, which is the college draft after the amateur draft, and played at Brown University. Hardly an NHL-producing Ivy League school, but he looks like he's going to be a pretty good hockey player here. Of course, you have to remember that Ron Smith coached till Roger Nielsen was fired in Binghamton, and knows these guys and brought 2 or 3 along with him: Juice, Zuboff, and King.
Housley took that face-off. Rangers control. Zuboff shot. He ripped it wide of the goal. Herr Juice across to Zuboff. Back to Juice. He lets the shot go. Essence of the save. Nemchinov on the rebound, but Essence has it between his pads.
Well, a guy that you don't hear too much about, Sergei Nemchinov. Last year, he led the New York Rangers in even-strength points, and with Messier out, he's playing a little bit on the power play here. He only has 2 even-strength forts this year out of the 36 points he's got. But if you play this man on the power play a little bit, he's going to contribute some points. A nice point shot by Per Juice, and before Nemchinov can put it in, Essence of freezes it. 29 years old. The first Soviet ever to play for the New York Rangers.
Nemchinov shot off the stick of Kennedy to the corner. Came in front. Koser's backhand. Nemchinov looking for the rebound, but Steen flips it out for the Jets. And the penalty is over to Mike Eagles. His second of the hockey game. Joey Koser rolls it into the corner and gives chase. Newmanen goes down against the boards. He's all right. And it's Zuboff to Juice. Jets forechecking with Solani and Kachuk. 6:23 to go, second period. Rangers 2 and the Jets 1. After a scoreless first, Newman behind the net. Nemchinov after him. Newman and upends Eriksson. Now he'll get a penalty. Turcotte a nice move at the line on Solani, then brought it outside the line, and that caused the Rangers off.
This is not the night for you to give up. Look at the winner.
Oh, why is that, Jill?
Because an unbelievable young goddess just came in and sat right behind you.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna fall into that one. What, a 74-year-old steel worker?
Hey, Marge, they got no beer here.
Not exactly, Tim.
Oh, yeah, she's the va-va-boom type?
Well, as a matter of fact, she has great vavas and a darn good boom.
All right with me, because you're looking pretty good since you took a couple pounds out of your boom.
Well, thank you so much. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take my boom to the ladies' room.
I'll be right here looking at my menu and nothing else.
Oh, man. Off to the right, 3 o'clock. Unbelievable.
Tim, the Toolman Taylor, I never miss your show.
Oh, you had me confused with that handsome guy in Tool Time.
Don't be modest. Could I get your autograph?
Yeah, quick. Why don't you slide it right under here, under my head here? Okay.
Could you make it out to Kiki?
Kiki? Okay, Keekster, there you go.
Could you put my last name too?
You know, my wife is due back. She's coming
Kiki Von Furstenwell and Scheinlaw.
What?
F-U-R-S-T-E-R-W-A-L-L.
I'm getting a hand cramp. Hold on.
E-N-S-C-H-E-I-N-L-A-W.
L-A-W. Good thing I did run out of ink.
Now, can you grunt for me?
Well, you know, my wife has come back and I guess...
Hello, honey. Excuse me.
He turns behind the net, high off the glass, and out of play. The Rangers kept the puck in nearly the whole time. 34 seconds left in the penalty to Teppo Numminen.
Well, some nifty passing and some good chances at the end of the passing plays by the Rangers. They couldn't score. Mike Gartner, critical man, makes a lovely pass right there. And Amante tips the puck out of the rink. Here's it. And Amante, number in front of the net right here, with 28, tips it over the goal. Mike Gartner, 3 consecutive 40-goal seasons, 7 in his career. Every stat we give you on Gartner's pretty impressive.
Rangers make a change up front with King, Olczyk, and Graves. Juice and Phil Bourque on the points. Alexei Zhamnov will take the face-off for the Jets. And Dean Kennedy chops it down the ice. 30 seconds remaining in the Rangers' power play. They lead it 2-1. 4.5 minutes to go, second period. Juice, the former Detroit Red Wing, skates to center. Lead pass, too hard for Olczyk. Essensa will play it off the corner boards for Mike Lawler. He tried to dump it down the boards. Rangers have it again. Stephen King from the corner. Bourque knocked it down. For King along the boards. Olczyk couldn't reach it. Kennedy behind the net. Off the glass to the point. Bounced off Juice. Zhamnov has a step on him. He's with Numminen and Shannon. Zhamnov cuts to the middle. Shoots, and it was blocked in front by Stephen King. Shannon behind the goal. Goes down. Centers it. Here's Kennedy. Shoots. Richter the save. Mike Lawler at the point. His shot hit a body. Goes to the corner. Rangers in some difficulty now as Juice can't clear it. Jamnov to the front of the goal. He's upended. Jets power play coming up. Shannon is flattened by Stephen King.
Career goals before last year when he got 26. He only had 2 in the first 32 games last year and got 24 in the last 48 and won 2 New York Ranger team awards. The Players Player Award, voted by his teammates, and the McDonald Extra Sport Award, voted by the fans.
Jets on their 4th power play, trailing by a goal late in the 2nd. Steen to Solani. For Housley at the point. Forced by Nemchinov. Backhand pass to Solani. He's watched by Bukaboom. Over to Housley. The shot off Richter. And he dives to cover up at the side of the net.
Well, I'm sure that shot by Phil Housley was a little higher than he wanted it to go and a little easier for Richter to recover. It's a one-time shot, and it got up where Richter could get his glove on it. Although he didn't catch it, he stopped it with his glove and got to it before any Jet could.
Penalty just underway to Graves. 20 seconds gone in it. Steen, Solani, Tkachuk, Numanen, and Housley. Puck comes to Phil Housley off the draw. He looks, decides to hang on. Puck behind the net for Tkachuk. Kevin Lowe. Puck on the back of the goal. Lowe trying to freeze it there for a face-off. Tkachuk knocks Lowe down. But the Rangers get the puck down the ice. Housley for the Jets. Slowly to center. Off to Thomas Steen. Back to Housley at the point. Across to Teppo Newman, and he moves in. The slap shot right in front. Tkachuk couldn't get a backhand shot away. Housley at the point. Across to Newman. To Solani. In the slot, Steen shot. Hit the skate of Kevin Lowe. Bukaboom banks it off the boards and out.
Thomas Steen couldn't get much on that shot, or it would have been a real good chance. The Jets moved that puck smartly on the power play.
Housley moves it to Stu Barnes, averaging a point a game since his call-up. This is his 6th game of the season. Battle for the puck along the boards. And it's lifted out by Darren Turcotte. 22 seconds left in the minor penalty to Adam Graves. Less than 2 minutes in the second period. Housley's pass behind Barnes. Picks it up behind the net, out in front for Davidoff. Had it knocked off his stick by Phil Bourque. Nemchinov, who's been dangerous tonight for the Rangers, gets around Jamnov, right in the shot, essence of the save. But Nemchinov draws a penalty with a good move around Jamnov.
Boy, this Nemchinov has really been impressive. 4th in rookie scoring, and he blows outside Zamnov there. And he's tripped before he can get the shot away and slides right into Bob Essendon. Leads the team in plus-minus. Got a little cut on the nose. I know when Roger Nielsen was coaching the Rangers, he said this is one of the quiet, good players in the league who gets very little publicity. And when we watch him operate tonight, you know what Roger was saying, what he was meaning when he said that. A lot of players here, Messier, Leach, Patrick, Gardner get all kinds of publicity. This guy quietly goes about being one of their better players.
So the Jets' power play is over. Now the Rangers have another opportunity late in the period. Puck is centered. Weak shot into Essensa off Ed Olczyk. And Essensa makes the save. Coming up tonight in our second intermission, Joe with Jets captain Troy Murray. We'll have NHL scores and highlights on the Reimer Express NHL scoreboard. Check that, the Canadian Tire scoreboard, and a CKND news update. That's all coming up in our second period intermission. Stephen King behind the goal, takes the puck to the corner. Newman in behind the goal for Boughton. Olczyk in the corner. For Stephen King, he was bumped by Boughton. Newman in, and the net has been knocked off.
The Graves is saying that he was knocked into the net, although those aren't quite the words he's using, and that the face-off should not be right there. And he's right. The face-off should not be outside. It should be inside because he had no control over the situation. But he's not going to win that argument. Adam Graves signed as a free agent by the Rangers, and the arbitrator who came up with the compensation gave the Edmonton Oilers Troy Millette. Not enough for a guy like Graves.
Yeah, the Rangers got the best of that deal. .105 left in the second period at Zuboff, the center, for Mike Gartner. He dumps it into the corner. Puck comes in front. Newman trying to slap it out. It went right off Zuboff and nearly in the net. Doug Wade at the point. Side of the net for Amati. Couldn't handle the pass. Back to Juice at the point. His shot. Loose puck in front. Newman tracks it down. Flips it to the boards. And Eagles gulps it out for the Jets with 38 seconds remaining in the period. 57 in the penalty. Tony Amati down the left side. Rolls it into the corner for Gartner. He reps it up with Mike Lawler. Housley off the boards to center. 17 seconds remaining in the period. Pass off Doug Waite. Dean Kennedy to the line. Zuboff for Amati. Doug Waite takes the shot. Now lets it go. In essence, it just got his toe on that one. Darren Shannon takes the puck to the corner, and the horn sounds to end the second period.
Well, 57 combined shots on goal in the first two periods, and I've counted 21 good scoring opportunities when you add up both teams. The stars of this game after 40 minutes obviously are the goaltenders.
Coming up next, Joe in the studio with Troy Murray. The score after 40 minutes of play. The New York Rangers 2 and the Winnipeg Jets 1.
Back to Madison Square Garden side. Tell us about your homecoming, your first game back to Chicago Stadium.
Well, that's a tough game to play in. You've got a lot of friends on the other team, and you realize that this is probably the only chance you're going to get to play against these guys, and then all of a sudden you're in a different building and you're playing with new teammates, and then you go back into New York or Chicago, and it's very tough. I remember I was almost hyperventilating. I was in Chicago. I was so nervous about the game, so uptight, and but once you get into the game, your mind just reacts to the way the game's going, and you forget about most things. But you're laughing because
did you take a wrong turn at one point?
Yeah, I went into the wrong penalty box my first game back.
And the Rangers start the third period on a power play. 20 seconds left in the penalty to Alexei Zhamnok. Phil Bork back to collect it as we're just underway in period 3. Newman in across to Bowden. To Darren Shannon, who plays it in. Druce after Phil Bork. The Jets have returned to full strength. Newman in the corner for Shannon. Zuboff trying to tie him up. Druce has Nemchinov all over him. Puck came free to Zhamnok. He spins away from Nemchinov. Left the puck. Newman has it in the slot. Shoots. Richter the save. Rebound. Jets Shannon after it. Richter down and has it.
Well, again, Mike Richter thwarting the Jets, as he has many times tonight, with stops on good scoring opportunities. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. A shot by Newman and a rebound that was around in front. And the Jets could not get the stick on it before it was covered up. Both goalies have been very sharp tonight. Richter in the nets for New York Rangers, and Essence, of course, in goal for the Jets.
Ron Smith looking on from the Rangers bench. Face-off in the Rangers zone. Steen, Solani, and Kachuk. The forward line for the Jets. Emu hasn't scored for a couple of games. Jets would like to have one from him here anytime. Bill Housley. Shot to the front of the net, steered away by Richter. Ulanoff in the corner. Tried to center it for Solani. Puck behind the Ranger net. Jeff Bukaboom ran into the goal. Richter had to duck, and that's a stoppage in play.
They're going to take this face-off outside as referee Jackson decides now that Bukaboom had no option but to go into net as he was hooked. no penalty, but the Jets are going to be penalized 60 feet. You have to like the looks of this young Winnipeg Jet. Chuck, he's just going to get better and better. John Paddock's lineup, 11 new players who are in their first year or haven't played a full year with the Winnipeg Jets. So it ought not to be a surprise that they are becoming, if not have become, the most improved team in the National League. Most of these fellows have not played many games with each other up until this year.
Tkachuk will be going home right after the game. Born in Melrose, Massachusetts, went to Boston University. The Jets and Bruins tomorrow night. Low slammed into the boards by Tkachuk. Solani from the corner, trying to come in front. Checked at the last moment by Turcotte. Puck was centered for Tkachuk. Here's Housley for Winnipeg. Back to Solani in the corner. Bukaboom stayed right with him, but the Jets keep it onside. Steen pokes it free. Solani, Tkachuk, slap shot over top of the goal. Kevin Lowe. Wearing an A in New York. He was the captain in Edmonton after Mark Messier, his good buddy, left that city. Tkachuk dumps it into the corner. Pear Juice off the boards. Broughton across the Graves. He sends it in. Doug Wade after the puck against Stu Barnes. Came in front of the Jets goal. Davidoff. Rink wide pass to Barnes. Just onside, but he lost the puck. And it's Amati for New York. Wade trailing the play. Graves goes to the net. Amati shot. Essence of the save on the short side. Amati centers it. And it was cleared by Barnes. Druce for Winnipeg to Davidoff. To the backhand. Took the shot off the stick of Phil Bourque. And the puck had just enough on it to clear the high glass behind Mike Richter.
Well, I mentioned in the first period, a very dangerous move is a turnover at or just inside or outside the Ranger blue line. And that happened to the Jets on that shift, and the Rangers roared off with a 3-on-2, and Essensa had to make a big stop after the turnover. You have to get the puck deep or have control of it getting over the blue line. And there's the former Ranger Ty Domi, who's been so well behaved. Bill Stein would be proud of the young man tonight. Eagles, Domi, King. Keep your head up.
Face off to the right of Mike Richter. Ed Olczyk won the face-off. Pear Juice to Joey Kocur. Skates to center, flips it in, knocked down by Boughton. Kulinoff turns away from Stephen King for Chris King, and the puck's out at center. Pear Juice back to Zubov. 3 minutes gone, third period. Rangers 2 and the Jets 1. Puck in the Jet zone. Kocur shot it wide. Chris King after it. Juice in from the point. Gives it to Stephen King. Left it in the corner. Domi collides with Olczyk. Olczyk has the puck. Put it in front. And Stephen King couldn't get a stick on it. Puck bounces away from Pear Juice. 2 Jets after him. Richter out to clear it. Jets keep it onside. Chris King a shot just wide. Nice job by King to keep that play alive for the Jets. Housley at his own line. He'll lead the Jets in. Stop when he saw Zubov coming. Domi behind the net. Rolled it into the other corner. Zubov is there for the Rangers. To Joey Kocur. Here's Gartner on the ice. Gathering speed through center. Gartner trying to stick handle his way through. Didn't get very far. Stu Barnes for Winnipeg. To Davidoff. John Druce. Failed to beat Bukaboom. Kevin Lowe. Hit Druce. Attempting to backhand it out. Now the Rangers do come out 2-on-1. Newman had caught up. Turcotte shot, and Essensa was well out the challenge, as Harry's talked about several times in the game. Barnes. His shot. Richter the save. And he holds on. As again we have
Look for those defensive specialists to get lots of considerations.
Bill Housley, edge of the circle. Played it across to Newman, and his slap shot. Richter another stop. And hangs on again for a face-off to his right. The Jets with 29 shots in the game. The Rangers with 35.
We're going to see both teams in all likelihood, with 15 and a half minutes left, get over 40 shots apiece, which is pretty wide open hockey. Great to watch. Not a lot of fun if you're the goalie. And not as enjoyable for the coaches as it is for the fans.
Solani back on his usual line with Zhamnov and Tkachuk. Newman and Hustle to it. Here's Solani with the puck for Winnipeg. Centers it. Lowe was there. Zhamnov for Winnipeg. Behind the net for Solani. Bukaboom takes him to the boards. Kevin Lowe after it. Zhamnov. Broughton finds the puck, gives it to Turcotte. Tied up by Tkachuk, and Turcotte couldn't get a shot away. Erickson to the corner after it. Erickson for the Rangers, controlling it. Now Housley picks it up for Winnipeg. Pass at center. Here's Tkachuk. He was knocked down from behind by Broughton. No penalty. And John Paddock was up on the bench complaining about that. Now Tkachuk has words for the referee, Jackson. Bill Bourque at center for Turcotte. Adam Graves, the slap shot. He fired it, and the puck goes out of play.
Graves got a hold of that one, but it was a four-bagger well into the top of the first deck of Madison Square Garden.
A refurbished Madison Square Garden, you might add.
That's Mike Gardner, who has been kept fairly quiet tonight. Had a couple of chances, but there's Neil Smith. He's seeing if anybody's acting up on the bench. Only ahead of goal. There's no laughing on the bench, you know. Ron Smith trying to generate a little bit more, I would say, defensive team responsibility. Think defense first. They have to protect this lead.
Behind the net, it's Wade and Barnes looking at each other.
It's been quite a calm game, with the exception of the shifts that Domi and King for the Rangers and Joey Kocur get out there. I'm wondering whether both these teams could show the pretty plays, the speed, get the chances that both teams are getting in a game where one of the two teams is quite a bit more physical and shortened up that neutral zone. It's been pretty clear for the good skaters on either team to go through it.
Davidoff was limping around after taking that shot from Bourque. Here's Davidoff right in. Backhand shot. Rick to the save. Scores! Davidoff has tied it for the Jets.
Boy, Davidoff, what patience he showed when he got in there. It was just an atrocious giveaway by the New York Ranger player, and Smith isn't too happy about that kind of a gift. Now, it wasn't a gift after Davidoff got in alone. Boy, he had all kinds. Here it comes right here. The pass across, and Davidoff fakes the shot. There goes the Ranger defenseman Phil Bourque, looking like a forward. And then Davidoff goes in and takes his time. Richter got a bit of it, but couldn't get enough of it. And you can see there are four Rangers chasing Davidoff as he ties it up.
Davidoff's 22nd goal of the season. Mrs. L. Gates of Winnipeg is the next winner in the Safeway Score and Win contest. Mrs. Gates filled out a ballot at her local Safeway and attached a label from Kraft Dinner. As a result, Mrs. Gates has won a General Electric microwave oven. The Jets are cooking here in the third. They battled back from a 2-0 deficit to tie it at 2. Darren Shannon. Shot it wide of the Ranger goal. Kevin Lowe. Slowly out of his own zone to Gartner at center. Now to Nemchinov. This has been the most dangerous Rangers line tonight, but this time they are offside.
Well, 2-2 in a game that's been as wide open as this one's the biggest compliments can pay to each goalie. This guy Davidoff, he gets some pretty goals. We've seen Zamnoff on the late night highlights, and here it is again. Bill Bourque faked right to his knees. Richter thought he had it and then dropped it into the net.
Davidoff now has 6 points in his last 3 games. Puck at center, Ulanoff for Winnipeg. Into the Ranger zone, Zuboff. Off the boards to Joey Kocur. And out he comes for New York. Koser's long shot blocked at the defense by Ulanov. Koser again, a high shot that had Essence ducking. Puck still in the Jets zone, flipped in on Essence. He drops it off to Ulanov. He had the first Jets goal tonight. Carries it to center and drives it in. 12:40 left. Third period. Jets 2 and the Rangers 2. Eagles in the corner. Left it for Chris King. For Ty Domi. Sergei Boutin. Bumped by Koser. Now Zubov mixing it up with Mike Eagles. Domi looking for a stray puck.
Every time John Paddock gets this line out, Domi, King, and Eagles, Ron Smith counters with a line that includes Steve King and Joey Koser.
Rangers nearly gave it away again. This time the call 780 seats. And there's no reason why you wouldn't want to right now, the way the Jets are playing in the NHL.
And St. Louis playing a little better as Mr. Hull is getting on track. That will be a fine exhibition, I'm sure.
Bill Bork stick handles to center for the Rangers in a 2-2 tie. 12 minutes remaining in the third. Paul brought into the corner. Tied up by Jamnok. Jan Eriksson. Housley stays with him. Turcotte behind the net. Broughton's backhand, Essence of the save. And he hangs on with the Rangers buzzing around.
Well, the New York Rangers lost James Patrick and Jay Wells in the first period, both to knee injuries, which has complicated matters for new coach Ron Smith. He's had to play Phil Bork on defense. He hasn't seen a lot of NHL time at that position. James Patrick is going to be out for 2 weeks, the doctors say. Wells for 6. Leach for at least another 6, if not longer. And Mark Messier for another 7 to 10 days. So the Rangers are playing shorthanded. Of course, the Jets are missing Troy Murray. Don't get too comfortable with the colorman Troy. You're a better hockey player at this point in your career. And Olofsson, of course, the top-notch defenseman for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, you hate to be without Messier, but Brian Leach, a real major blow to the Rangers, who are deeper up front than they are on the blue line. Loss of Olofsson, of course, affecting the Jets' power play. He's got that big shot, teaming up with Phil Housley. Tony Amati shooting it in for New York. Waller to the corner with Doug Waite. Adam Graves also helping out. Barnes has the puck for the Jets. John Druce out to Davidoff at center. He was flattened by Zubov. Druce following up for Barnes, trying to cut to the net, got a shot away off the side of the goal. And there will be a New York penalty on the play.
Well, you have to like Stu Barnes going to the net there, trying to make something happen. And when you go to the net, you're often rewarded with a goal. And if not, quite regularly, you cause a penalty, as Stu Barnes did on this play. And here's a chance with 11:07 to go. There's a good body check. We haven't seen many of them this evening. Here comes 14 Barnes to the goal, trying to keep his balance, retain possession of the puck, and get a shot. And Graves hauls him down. And the Jets will get a chance to go ahead on the power play.
You know, Harry, you were a coach in this league, and your coaches say all the time, go to the net, but players don't always seem willing to do that.
Well, going to the net is no fun. I mean, you get chopped down, you get taken out, just the way Stu Barnes did on that play. So going to the net is a simple order for the coach to give, but sometimes it's rather uncomfortable for the player to execute.
Jets have come up empty on the power play tonight. If they can change that, they'll have their first lead. Kevin Lowe gives it to Turcotte at center. Jamnok back on defense, and Housley chips it ahead to John Druce. He's up front with Barnes and Davidoff. Druce shooting it in. Bukaboom for the Rangers. He was dumped. Barnes centered it, and Turcotte cleared it.
Now, what Barnes did on this play, the fans are screaming for a penalty. But Bukaboom was winding up to slap the puck down the ice for an icing on the penalty, and Barnes held his stick, and Bukaboom fell and rolled into the boards. And this could be the third New York Ranger defenseman to go down in this game. Ron Smith is going to have to bring up the Binghamton team. Mark Hardy's not playing. There's no penalty on this play, and here's the reason why. Bukaboom winding up to shoot it. He's hooked from behind, and in the middle of the slap shot movement, it stopped, and he rolls into the end of the rink.
Looks like Bookaboom will be all right. He's yelling at the referee, Jackson, but as you say, Harry, I don't think Barnes really did anything wrong there. It was Bookaboom.
There it is right here. He got stopped in the middle of a slap shot motion, and that's what threw him off balance. And it was not a hook. You see, it's underneath right there. He's just stopping the stick. I don't think that was a hook at all. It's tough to convince Jeff Bookaboom it wasn't a hook as he slides into the end of the rink.
Might be seeing a few stars. Well, Bookaboom thought it was a hook. Looked like he banged his shoulder pretty good, but I think number 23 of the Rangers will be back.
Well, it could have been, but I think Jackson made the right call on the play. But he didn't have 3 replays like we did. He had to make his mind up in a hurry, and the replays made him look good.
1:30 left in the penalty to Adam Graves. Druce was checked at center by Zuboff. Bill Housley zigging and zagging his way to center. Now he flips it into the Ranger zone. Barnes after Kevin Lowe, and he clears it. Rink wide pass to Davidoff. He was grabbed along the boards by Broughton. Pretty good penalty killing here by the Rangers. Now Jamnov for the Jets. Played it off the boards for Barnes. Nemchinov after it in the corner. Kevin Lowe moved it ahead to Nemchinov. It's a 3-on-1 for the Rangers. To Erickson. Nemchinov goes for the net. Erickson shoots, scores!
And we have an injured Winnipeg Jet player way down in the New York Ranger end as Nemchinov steps away on a 3-on-1 in a shorthanded situation and puts his New York Rangers up 3-1. It's Zamnoff, the injured Ranger player. In a collision along the boards, Zamnoff didn't get up as the Rangers blew out of their own zone with a 3-1 break. And you can see it right here as he goes down. And here's the 3-1 break. A wise play when you're shorthanded on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 is to shoot the puck. So the pass doesn't get intercepted, and then you really get yourself in trouble with 3 players in a penalty-killing situation going the wrong way. Erickson was the goal scorer, my mistake. The defensive specialist, Jan Erickson. And in games that he scored, the New York Rangers are 11-0-1. He has missed 213 games in the last 7 years, 27 this year due to back injury. So he gets a big goal for the New York Rangers right here. And on the play, Zamnoff is still recovering deep in the Rangers zone, although he looks to be in better shape now than he did a minute ago.
Erickson's first shorthanded goal of the season, his 4th of the year.
Well, here's the play. There's where he gets dumped. And you can see the 4-3 Winnipeg Jets players in deep. And then Housley decides to go in. Or no, he comes out. The other defenseman that gets trapped. And Zamnoff appears to be recovering, although is in some degree of pain on the Jets bench.
That is the 9th shorthanded goal the Jets have surrendered this season, and the Rangers are back in front 3-2. 30 seconds left in the power play. Newmanen backhands it in. Phil Bourque there. Puck went to Turcotte, and he backhands it down the ice.
And that is the 12th shorthanded goal for the New York Rangers. So they're one of the more dangerous teams when they're killing a penalty.
Bill Housley. He's chopped down at center by Turcotte, who is in turn upended by Tkachuk. Turcotte complaining. And he's going for sloshing, so the Jets will have a 2-man advantage for 12 seconds.
Well, the fans and Ron Smith. Smith fired a towel about 30 feet in the air at this call right here. The trip or the slash on Phil Housley. Jackson's 10 feet from it. Won't disregard it. And here's another look at it right here. It is a trip. There's no question about that. The problem with this play, Bucky, is that it comes after the Bookaboom.
In the infraction to Turcotte. Teemu Selanne. Slowly to center for Keith Tkachuk. He knocks it back to Housley at his own line. Feeds it on the right side for Selanne. Bourque was there for the Rangers. Jamnov across to Newmanen. He slaps it around the boards. Tkachuk for the Jets. Back for Housley. Missed him with the pass. And there's 30 seconds to go on the power play. Jets nearly caught with too many men. Housley brings it across the line. Into the corner, centered it. Erickson slops it down the ice. Mike Lawler to Jamnok. Now to Shannon. Last chance for the Jets with this man advantage. Davidoff to the corner. Came to Nemchinov. He rolls it ahead to Gartner. Trying to beat Lawler with his speed. Gartner shoots Essence out to make the save. And he has it in his glove. The penalty over to Darren Turcotte.
I guarantee you that when Mike Gartner wound up to shoot that puck coming down the right wing, Essence was out so far. And here's the play here as Ulanov gets trapped and the foot race is on. Now Gartner's looking, and I'll guarantee he can't see the end of the rink. Essence is at the bottom of the circle. He would have had to turn that puck over to get it past Essence and keep it between the goalposts.
Face off to the left of the Jets goalie. 7:15 to go, third period. It's the Rangers 3 and the Jets 2. High shot off the chest of Essence. Bork behind the net. Here's Olchek trying to come in front. He was checked by Ulanov. Wade in the corner with Jamnok. He's pinned on the boards. Gartner in after it. Boughton pokes it free to Shannon, who bumps with Juice. Here's Shannon moving in with Davidoff. Shannon shoots. Richter kicks it out. Shannon didn't get a lot on the shot. He was bothered just enough. Olchek sweeps it ahead for Gartner. Ulanov for the Jets. Here's Olchek following up. Wrist shot over top of the goal. Wait. In the slot, Gartner nearly fanned on it. And back come the Jets 3-on-2. Davidoff with Jamnov and Shannon. Davidoff shoots, and he didn't miss by much. Puck comes back to Ulanov at the line. Across to Housley as Ron Smith makes a change. Housley waiting for the Jets to change up. Domi off the boards into the Ranger zone. Eagles in there quickly with Chris King. He lost the puck to Lowe behind the net, who rolls it out. Adam Graves back to Zubov. Chris King lifts it in. 5:47 to play in the third. Stephen King, rink-wide pass to Amati. Had trouble controlling the puck. Now he has control of it. Dean Kennedy lost his stick, and Domi has the puck one-on-one against Kevin Lowe. Domi going wide. Trying to one-hand it in front. He was knocked down. King slammed into the boards by Stephen King. Eagles hooked it in front. Couldn't get it to Domi. Amati ahead to Stephen King. Essensa comes out to play it. Fires it around the boards for Mike Lawler. Out for Domi at center. For Dean Kennedy. Got a mix-up behind the play between Chris King and Stephen King.
Well, Chris King, of course, one of the lesser-known players, come over with Ty Domi. Second last year with the New York Rangers in penalty minutes with 224 in 13 playoff games. He had 5 points and was a +4 and was a physical force. Not as much publicity as Domi, but in the crunch, you may find that he's a little more dependable and a little more playable. Roger Nielsen said, when they traded King, against my wishes, I knew I was gone. And King said about Domi's return to Madison Square Garden, one thing for sure, we'll see if Domi didn't like anybody. Domi hasn't made that clear, and here's how this altercation started. Chris King and Steve King. Steve King has been one of the better Rangers. There's Jay Wells going off to the hospital, I'm sure. He got hurt in the first period. He's out for at least 6 weeks. That's a bitter blow to the Rangers. He was their most physical defenseman along with Jeff Bukaboon, and they've got 3 regular defensemen gone for extended periods.
Jets trying to take advantage, but Mike Richter's been stubborn tonight. Jan Eriksson for New York. Turns in the corner against Housley. Less than 5 minutes left in the third. 3-2 Rangers. Eriksson in the corner trying to fend off Housley. Still controls it. Shamnoff spins away from Turcotte, then Eriksson. Teppo Numminen to Teemu Selanne. Takes the shot just wide. And the Rangers' Bukaboom flips it out. Bill Housley sidesteps a check from Gartner. Numminen for the Jets. 2 Rangers after him. Nemchinov behind the goal. Selanne comes away with it for Winnipeg with 4:10 to go. Numminen goes for the net. Selanne hands it off to Housley into the slot. Housley right in. Checked at the last moment by Zubov.
That's a good example of what I talked about in the opening. Housley on with Zubov, or with Zamenhof and Selanne, and joins the rush late. Almost impossible to pick him up with the speed that the 2 Jet forwards have coming in on the Ranger defense corps.
Sergei Boutin, 3:40 remaining in the third. Gives it to Zhamnov at center. 4 Rangers waiting at the line, and the play was broken up by Zubov. Doug Waite with Adam Graves, 2-on-2. Waite trying to cut to the net. Ulanov got a hand on him. Waite to the line, into the corner for Graves. Doing some good work along the boards. Waite from the corner. Puck came in front. Fans want a penalty, and the Jets come back. Ulanov into the slot for Tkachuk, and it's lifted out of play by Phil Bourque. You're watching the Jets live on...
The score is 4-3 Sabres over Washington. McGillney has not scored, so that elusive dream has disappeared from Alexander McGillney, and Joe Pascucci will have the highlights of that game at the conclusion of this one.
Mike Lawler to John Druce, 2:50 left third period. Stu Barnes into the corner. Bukaboom bumped by Lawler. Druce covering at the point to Stu Barnes along the boards. Rolls it behind the net for Davidoff. Druce into the corner after it. John Druce. Davidoff. Back for Ulanov, and the puck squirts out. Druce to Stu Barnes. He overskates the puck. Druce picks it up again. Hit by Bukaboom in the corner. Barnes comes away with it. Barnes centers it tried to center it for Davidoff, but it was blocked by the stick of Richter. Lawler flips it to the net wide. And Ed Olczyk cleared it out for the Rangers. 2 minutes left in the third. Jets 10-game unbeaten streak on the line in New York as they trail 3-2. Steen trying to hit Shannon. Essensa down the boards for Steen. Eriksson in the slot. Turcotte shot off the arm of Essensa and out of play, and that very nearly was the insurance marker for the Rangers with 1:40 left.
Boy, that was one of a dozen excellent stops by Bob Essensa. As Zamenhof overskates the puck, Eriksson rolls it out to Turcotte, and he gets a lot of wood on it, and a great stop by Essensa with his right arm. If there's one area that the Winnipeg Jets have been beaten in fairly consistently tonight by the Rangers, it's battles for the puck, especially when the Jets had the power play. They never recovered very many pucks in the Ranger zone, and that's an equally important part of a power play to good passing or accurate shooting.
Jan Eriksson in the corner against Housley. Now Broughton. Eriksson again, away from Steen. Scores!
Well, Bob Essensa, who has been almost unbeatable tonight, can't stop Jan Eriksson on the wraparound goal for Eriksson's second of the night. And Ron Smith is 1 minute 22 seconds away from his 4th win as a National Hockey League coach here in New York. And here comes the play. Defensive zone coverage. Kennedy cannot, or is it Steen, cannot handle Erickson, who wraps it around and puts it in past Essenson.
The first 2-goal game for Jan Eriksson since October 3rd of 1988. 4-2 Rangers. Rangers were unbeaten in 5 at Madison Square Garden coming into this one, and they're going to stretch it to 6. Barnes with Druce, a minute to go. Barnes holds up, backhands it behind the net for Druce. Kevin Lowe into the corner for Adam Graves. He takes no chances and dumps it out with less than a minute to go in the 3rd. Newman corrals a rolling puck to Phil Housley. On the left side to Barnes. He's held up by Nemchinov. Zubov behind the net. Looking for Bork. Barnes to John Druce. His shot blocked at the defense by Bork, and he flips it to the line. Newman's shot didn't get through. Here's Barnes in front. Tkachuk chipped it over the glass and into the seats. 23.1 seconds remaining in the 3rd.
Well, Keith Tkachuk really had a good opportunity right there, but got the puck, but didn't get enough of it. He's off to the right here. You're going to see him, number 7, right there off the left post. Bill Bork allows him to stand there and was very fortunate that he didn't put it in. And here is the goal that put the icing on the cake. And it was Thomas Steen, not Kennedy, that lost Erickson. And Essenson did not get across the net with his foot jammed against the post quickly enough. And Jan Erickson scored his 2nd of the night to put the final nail in the Jet coffin.
Owen Moore is a defensive specialist, runner-up with the Sulky Trophy one season, then for his offense, but Erickson has done the job tonight for New York.
This is only his 20th game. He's the longest-serving New York Ranger. And I know that he's much more valued by his coaches as a defensive specialist, often to play against the other team's best line or best player. And 2 goals is a real bonus coming from him. John Paddock. Team just couldn't score on their opportunities, as Mike Richter was heroic for this whole game with 33 shots, and you can be sure 12 or 15 were excellent stops.
Jets' goal is empty. Doug Waite looking for it, shot it wide. Housley for Winnipeg. In the corner to Newman, and just 12 seconds left. Back to Housley in front. He's checked. Here's Waite. Scores!
Well, with 6.8 seconds to go, this goal has nothing to do with the outcome of the game, but a rather careless play by Phil Housley to allow Waite to pick his pocket and put it in. Housley is a chance-taking defenseman. There's no question about that. And if you take chances, sometimes they backfire on you, and there was a great example of just that.
Was, as you just mentioned, is balancing. And balancing our foods, maintaining low stress levels, not getting too excited, not getting too down. In any case, that's very important. So how do you find balance in a situation for a vegetarian?
Well, my personal view is you know, that a little bit of meat's okay, even red meat is okay.
Or if nothing else, how about animal products like dairy and eggs? If there is a deficiency or if there's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Canada Food Guide is really good in saying that we need all sorts of variety in our diet, and I think something obsessive or strict in our focus, whether it be vegetarianism or some sort of fad diet, is detrimental.
Yet I suppose that some people could look at low fat as being obsessive too, and I think that My personal opinion is, and it's interesting, I'm going to take a different stance than you. My personal opinion is that the Canada Food Guide